So, for the naysayers, whatever, you know. Yeah, I screwed up a perfectly good school bus. But I'm making a spaceship and I don't care.
Hello and welcome to, well, Carlin's Worlds. Yeah, that should work. I'm a wanderer, a tinkerer, sometimes a nomad, a military veteran. I do things differently. There will be tinkering. I have a motorcycle, a truck, and a school bus. I live off-grid, so there will be some solar, batteries, inverters, and maybe even some wind. It blows. And that's all I can fit into about 30 seconds. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Cool. On with the show already.
The deed is done. I mean, it's not finished by any stretch, but I don't think I'm going to need to remove any more of what's up there. So now it's kind of like, okay, clean up the mess a little bit, tidy it up, and move forward. If you've watched this until now, I can imagine there's about 1 million people freaking out. Oh my God, you've destroyed a perfectly good bus. Oh my God, you'll never be able to put it back together. Oh my God, you're an idiot. Probably. I'm okay with that. But it's like, alright. It's a 20-year-old bus. It was surplus. It's lived out its useful days. I've got rain gutters on it. The sucker ain't going to drive anymore. It got about 4 miles to the gallon. If I ever wanted to go driving the countryside, as much as I like the idea of converting this to be a motorhome, it's really not well suited to the way I would travel. I was considering it before I bought it. If you've ever seen my Hurricane Katrina trip videos, survivor stories, I drove from Washington State all the way down, well, first to Memphis and then down to Baton Rouge. I never got into Nolens, or however the locals would say it. I'm sorry if I murdered that again. But I did get down to Baton Rouge, and I talked to a few people down there, but most of the people I met and talked to had made it up to Memphis. I just happened to get to Memphis and then started meeting people. I did that with an Astrovan. Coming back from that was the first time I seriously thought about buying a school bus, specifically for that kind of a trip, because I was kind of hoping I could use that trip and the video I made from that and the money I was hoping to make from selling the video. I actually submitted that to PBS hoping they would pick it up. Now, you don't get a lot of money from PBS, but I was hoping to get the exposure at least. And they rejected it, so I was heartbroken. It is all up on YouTube. But, you know, I had a few days driving coming back to think about it, and I was like, it would have ended up sort of like this one minus too much stuff. You know, I'd have a place to sleep, I'd have my computers, I'd have somewhere to, you know, make my cup of coffee like it's brewing now. I would have been set. I joined a few bus building forums. One guy had a lot of really great information and a lot of guys posting, and they had all kinds of really smart ideas, and I was pretty serious about buying a bus. This was back, well, whenever Hurricane Katrina was, right? So after 2000 and before 2004, 2005, somewhere in that area. I forget exactly. It doesn't really matter. You can look it up. So I was like, yeah, this would be a great idea. I'd go buy a bus and then be ready to do a trip like that again. Well, the Astrovan got 20 miles to the gallon. It wasn't until I bought the bus, and you know, I did a little bit of research, but driving the bus from San Antonio to here is about roughly 500 miles at 4 miles to the gallon. So I was like, yeah, you know, unless I come up with some crazy corporate sponsorship from you know, Shell Oil or something like that that can just give me gas as I'm driving along. No, you know, it's not going to be like that. I could see doing another Astrovan though. And what I've learned since then, I could set it up a lot nicer. That trip was just a nightmare in a logistical point of view because I didn't have enough time, I didn't have enough money. I actually left before I finished some things. I finished some things on the road. Some things never got finished, you know. So there's been, you know, a lot of learning since then. But yeah, the Astrovan got 20 miles to the gallon. I could afford to drive that. That's better than my truck. I'm actually thinking about buying another one. But yeah, this bus, you know, I could almost quit calling it a bus, except it says bus on the outside, so, you know, the name still sticks. It's never going to drive. It's very unlikely this bus will ever leave my property under its own power. Alright, we'll just say that. I spent too much money on it for what I'm doing to it. This would have been a great project for a $1,000 bus. I spent about $4,000 for it. But it did get me out here. It drove. I didn't have any trouble with it. So, you know, good enough, right? I don't regret it at all. But if I was going to completely gut it and tear it apart, yeah, I could have probably spent $1,000, bought one closer, paid a tow truck to drag it out here, and I would have been money ahead, right? There's a thought, you know. So if you're going to buy a bus to live in, and if you're never planning on driving it, you might think about that. Go buy one that doesn't run, you know. It's almost a romantic fascination with buying an old school bus and taking it out and driving the countryside. I get that. If you're old enough to remember, was it the Partridge Family? Yeah, right? You know, they had their old bus and they drove it around. The irony is, thinking back, there was a lot of times where they were broken down too. You know, or they ran out of gas money. So think about that. That was about the time that the gas crisis hit us. You know, so they probably had a great idea and then they realized they couldn't afford gas. Maybe that's why they canceled the series. I don't remember. I was pretty little when that came out. Anyway, from a technical point of view, okay, I've already decided it's my money, I spent it, this is the way I'm doing my bus. Okay, that's easy. All right. From a technical point of view, I used to be an aircraft mechanic, jets and helicopters, and I've worked on trucks for a few years. And very much of what I just did is exactly what I did for a few years, as far as taking things apart. Now, I have the training to put it back together, but all of the stuff on the driver's side, before I spent months thinking about this. And what made me decide was, even if I do drive the bus again, all of the stuff on the outboard side is not stuff that I need. I don't need that big giant heater core. I don't have 70 kids sitting back here that are going to get cold. Okay, take that out. That just freed up this much room. You know, it's so big it doesn't fit on the screen. The electrical stuff, I'm pretty much, if I needed to, I could put it back together, but I wouldn't put it back the way it was. It was messed up. There's a lot of bad wires in there. I could very easily take, you know, the one up here that I always point at, one of those black switches, and I could set up, okay, I've got switches for marker lights, work lights, and 4 more. Okay, I don't need backup, cutoff, I don't need a strobe, I don't need a crane, and I don't have a compressor. That's just the labels that are on that switch. But I could have, you know, marker lights, outside camp lights would be my second one, would be work lights probably. You know, I could just sit there and in about half an hour, maybe an hour, if I took my time and did a really nice job, I could rewire this switch box to cover all of the crap I took out of there. Alright? Steering wheel. You saw how fast that came out. It goes in just about as easy. Boop. Very few of the connectors that I took apart had any trouble. A few of them I broke the tabs off, but the connectors are fine. So I didn't actually screw anything up worse than it was. So if I really, really wanted to, I could put it back. If I could find it, you know. I didn't spend a lot of time tagging things as I took them apart because I didn't want to. The heater, I hooked the hoses back together. Now I'd have to replace or fix the radiator hose that the rats shoot through. I'll include that so you see what I'm talking about. Alright, I didn't know that leaked until I added the coolant back in, and then it got it up high enough to then start leaking again. So I'm like, crap, you know. Let's see, what else? The parts of the wiring that make the bus engine run are still intact. So all I got to do is, before I tidy everything up, I'm going to spend a little bit of time electrical tape all the loose connectors so that they don't touch each other. So if I really needed to, I could lay them all out and find the ones that I need and plug them back into a switch and start the bus. Alright. And the air system, that's kind of a mess right now because I cut and disconnected a bunch of fittings. Alright. So air brakes are not going to happen. However, having grown up on a farm and being around people that were working on air systems and air brakes, option one, if I just needed to move the bus under tow, I don't think my little truck could pull the bus, but, you know, there is a way to basically disengage your air brakes so that the wheels roll. Alright, you don't have a way to stop it then. It's, you know, but you can do it. Other option is I could put the fittings back together, use an air compressor, blow up the air tanks, and then release the air brakes. Okay, so that's doable. And it would just be a matter of taking a few minutes to figure out what I did and undo it, and we could be okay. Transmission linkage is still connected. Gas pedal, brake pedal are still connected. So, alright. Yeah. But moving forward, what this has given me is a spot that was underutilized that I can now move. I'm going to take all of this workstation eventually, or sooner, transplant it to the driver's seat. And I've already taken apart the other computer workstation, so there's 4 feet and another 4 feet of stuff that's now going to be out of here, will be moved to the front. Use that work area that was wasted before. Alright. Now I have the room I needed to do the bus conversion. And I didn't fully even appreciate how good this was until last night when I really sat down after I turned the camera off and I just looked at it for a while. And I started to just kind of piece it together. I'm like, oh wow. You know, so now I can work on, so work out about 12 or 14 feet. I can redo that section, and then I can move what's on that side over here, redo that section. The back half I may not do the conversion on at all. So just doing this will have a rippling effect that will improve my quality of life enormously. It's weird, you know. Yeah. So, for the naysayers, whatever, you know. Yeah, I screwed up a perfectly good school bus. But I'm making a spaceship, and I don't care. So, yeah. If you've watched this, oh my god, you deserve a medal. Thanks for your support, and stay tuned, because there's going to be some really cool stuff coming out of this. Until the next one, thanks for watching. Catch you later.
Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that should work. Cool. I do things differently. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Thank you so much for watching.